All right, cool. All right, so Jordan, good to see you as always. So today's topic is to talk about a little fun project that we've been working on for a while now. How
Yeah,
we
man.
how we work together, turn that from kind of a generic product, drop shipping, all the way into the killer custom brand that you have right now. So we'll kind of probably structure in a way where I think it'd be good to just kind of talk about a little bit of the major steps along the way. You talk about the marketing branding side on the front end, and I'll kind of chime in with some of the supply chain things that we did. And obviously, we'll also answer some questions along the way as well. All right.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. By the way, to everybody on the live right now, thank you guys so much for showing up. I know it's literally the middle of the day. You could be doing all different type of stuff, but you decided to spend it with us. So, appreciate you guys. Let's get it going.
All right. All right. Cool. Yeah. So, uh, Jordan, I don't think he needs any introductions, but he is he's one of the best YouTubers I think on here today, talking about dropshipping and e-commerce. And he's one of the guys who's definitely walking the walk. I mean, he's been running a store with us. Like we literally know that he's making money and still running stuff. So definitely check out his channel, YouTube, Jordan Welch. He has some great stuff on there, and I think some of the best knowledge for anywhere from kind of beginners to more experienced dropshippers as well. All right, so
Thank you, bro.
Jordan, let's just get started. Maybe from the start. Don't need to give obviously too many details of your product itself. We're still scaling it, so unfortunately we can't share the exact product. It's not a product reveal, but maybe just talk about kind of how you got started with this, and kind of the overall process step by step.
Yeah, no problem. So basically, this store, I started it with what I like to call a hybrid store. Basically, some people would consider this to be like a niche store, just a really nice and clean website that has a good logo, really good story, and a bunch of products that are similar to each other in the same industry. Specifically, I started it out in the home and garden space. And I just started testing products with the traditional dropshipping model from AliExpress. I tested 3 products before I found this one. The first 3 products, of course, they got, a couple sales, but none of them really, had any traction. And on the 4th product, I saw that it was able to be scaled. And I did something different than what I had normally done in the past. Instead of just really scaling that product right away with the AliExpress shipping and the copy and paste video, I was like, okay, let me pull back real quick and let me just double down on this product. So I had ordered it from Amazon. I had made my own custom video with my phone. And by the way, anybody that's running an ad right now that's not their own, you guys got to order the product and make your own ad. Because what happened afterwards is that now this product was extremely scalable. My costs were cut almost in half. In terms of cost per purchase, in terms of cost per link click, and this product really had potential. So I scaled it with that new video on the hybrid store. And after scaling it for around a month, I really knew that this product could grow. And that's when I got a hold of Dayu and his team, and we just started working on it. And that would have been about a year from today. So yeah, since then it's been a lot of ups and downs, and we're still having ups and downs, but that's sort of how it started.
All right, that's great. So I'm sure a lot of folks are probably interested in, how did you, what was your general like product research strategy that kind of helped you find eventually this product?
Yeah, so I think product research, a lot of people have the same sort of approach, and I do too, honestly. I think I actually find the product is not the hardest part. It really comes down to the actual marketing and how you present it. But basically, I just looked for products that were already going viral, stuff that was really popping off recently, not like older stuff. Within the last like month or 2 months, the product had popped. And the main thing that I was looking for with those products were if they had room to improve. So better video, better website, better copywriting, new angle for marketing, something that I could do better or differently to capitalize off of that product. Because if people were already interested in it, I know I could get my piece of that as well, or take over the whole market if possible, which in a way I feel like we've done with this product. But that's sort of what I look for in a simple explanation. That's really what I'm seeing. So on Facebook and Instagram, really just looking for stuff that's recently popping off.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, I definitely have to really agree with that. I think a lot
I
of
can
times
show an
when,
example too, by the way. I
oh
have
yeah,
one
yeah,
here.
yeah,
Yeah.
please do, please do.
Keep going. Let me pull this up.
Oh, let me actually allow you to share screen as well. But yeah, one of the things that we definitely see with a lot of our clients who are scaling really hard is they do look for products out there that other people might be selling, but there's clearly something that can be improved, whether it's the marketing, whether it's the functionality, whether it's the quality, right?
Mm.
Now, not to say you can't be successful with just like what's out there already, but if you can get an edge over everyone else, I mean, edge is an edge, right? It's a very competitive industry. So if you can get that edge, you can really blow everyone out the water. So, definitely like a really great idea to just look for something that can be improved on.
Definitely, yeah. So I'm making a challenge video this week on my channel, and I had found this product to make a challenge out of. So I figured I'd just give you guys like a sneak peek before I launch it. So like this product actually right here is a good example of what I'm talking about. So you can see that they launched this on August 4th, right? And they already ran up almost 1 million views off this product. People in the comments are like making jokes. They really like it. It appears that most of the comments are from like the United States or like major countries, which is also a good sign because then you can say, okay, this is actually real engagement. This is not like, this is not like just they're running up a PPE ad. The video itself, obviously you can do a better job. And then if we dig deep and go to the actual website, by the way, you can see everything that I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
Okay. If you go to the actual website, I mean, this is nothing too impressive. Hopefully it's not somebody watching this live right now, but it's very simple, very clean. Like you could do a better, not that clean. It's very simple. You could do a better job on this. And that's what I'm trying to do. So I did this little challenge video and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, just an idea for you guys, like just an example.
All right. Yeah. It's super helpful. Super helpful. And then now, let's first talk about kind of branding and, on more of like the front end side, right? Store, like marketing. I remember actually, even when you first came to us, you had this great vision of what this, brand might be, and you're kind of planning all of these elements to drive into that brand message. So,
Mhm.
maybe you can help talk a little bit more about how you thought about that. What elements were you thinking about, and just generally speaking, like which elements are actually important, at least on the front end side.
For actually like making that branded feel out of a product.
Yeah, exactly. So, or like the website, the ads, and like everything like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I mean, the video I feel like for me was first because, that's like the lowest hanging fruit. And if the video pops off, then you can really dig deep and redo the whole entire website and stuff, right? So the video came first, and then the actual website design, I think, comes second. And when it comes to like the elements of the website design that I'm really looking at, the name, gotta have a real good name that stands out for your product. It's unique, good logo, custom photos. And by the way, custom photos doesn't have to be you shooting them. You could always just take what already exists and Photoshop it and add your own sauce to it. I mean, it's really coming down to that. I mean, you could go deep into design and talk about like you have to have a certain color scheme for your brand, and but for me, it's just like you need to have your own video. Try to have a nice, clean name for your product when you do go with that. Get a good logo and have good images. Those are like the first pieces I would knock down.
Yeah, it's cool. And I think that, the other thing that, I felt really excited about when I first talked to you about this brand is that I think that you had a very strong vision of like where you wanted to take this. And I didn't necessarily just mean like, okay, like this is the domain name, this is the logo name, whatever, right? You had a very strong vision. Hey, like this is the audience that I'm targeting. This is the way that I'm going to appeal to them. And even at the time, you're talking about, okay, I'm going to work with these influencers in the space to make sure that we kind of build that holistic vision of the brand. So this is also something like actually throughout this process, like kind of you and I talked about evolving that as well. We eventually made like a thank you card. Eventually, we got new packaging, which we'll talk about a little bit later. We improved the product quality,
Yes, yeah.
and the reason why we did all of that is, look, for you guys out there, I think that when we think about branding, it really doesn't just stop at like a logo, a site name. even just colors or videos, right?
Mhm.
If you want a sustainable brand, you have to make everything you do kind of follow that brand message and follow like a level of quality as well, right? Because a lot of what happens in like especially more generic dropshipping is that you make everything nice, make everything pretty, your store is branded, but then the product shows up in poor packaging. There's like Chinese on it. It's like
Yeah,
poor quality. No one's gonna buy from you again, right? I mean, you could be great at like your front end ROAS, but no one's gonna buy from you from the back end, right?
that's real.
Yeah, so actually guys, if you guys are interested, we actually do have I actually do have a video about this where I just kind of talk about how you should think about just real branding holistically. So if you wanted to send us that, send you guys that as part of my Ecom MBA series, just comment real branding below and we'll send that to you.
Definitely.
All right, so yeah, so then you guys started with scaling up well. So what made your decision to, actually kind of work with the agent right away, actually, because usually like it takes someone a little bit longer to actually, work with the agent, but it did actually sound like at the time, especially you just wanted to get started right away.
Yeah, so basically, it's not my first store, right? It's not the first time doing this. So I've learned from past mistakes and I'm around people that do this all the time. So I already knew what it was. Like when I was already getting this store to grow and this product to grow, there's no reason to keep using AliExpress. Okay. It's just what it is. And then I actually wanted to go with you and your team right away, but you guys actually had like such a wait list going on that like we couldn't get it going. So I had to work with another agent off the rip, but it didn't really go as well. They had a very poor quality control team. Communication was so. They had good shipping. We could give them a clap for that, but everything else was off the mark. So once I got the opportunity to work with you and your team, I knew this was like go time. Like we could take this and really go with it. So yeah, that's really what sparked the decision. I didn't even want to wait until it got bad. I just like before any problems arose with shipping, I figured it out. Like, and then of course, as I started working with you and even the other agent, like, of course, you're still gonna have problems with shipping. I mean, we've done like 6 different versions of our product now, probably more. So we're constantly tweaking. We've tried different things. We tried different packaging, different like inserts in the package. So it's all an experimental game. I don't think it really ever ends. I think you're always improving the product and experience. That's part of the fun of it, though.
Yeah, well, actually, we're making a new improvement right now, actually. So we'll talk about that later. Let's actually answer a quick question here. So from Daniel, in your opinion, are creatives more important than targeting with media buying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. I mean, you have to understand, like, let's say you're targeting like the broadest audience ever, which is the stuff that I'm trying to target, because if you get into those audiences and you really scale, you have infinite room for growth. Like some of the biggest campaigns I'm running are no targeting or just like one broad keyword. So how are you possibly going to expect to stand out in that keyword when there's thousands of other advertisers running ads in the same space if you have a bad creative? Just doesn't work. I feel like with dropshipping, creative is like 75% of it, like at the start, maybe even a higher one.
Yeah. I mean, especially these days after iOS 14.5, like lookalikes aren't
Yeah.
working as well. Yeah, it's all about no interest targeting. I mean, it's not the only way, obviously, but I've been talking to Gabriel a bit as well. I'm sure you talked to Gabriel, like he always says the same thing, just get your creatives right. Like he just has some campaigns with no interest at all. And like he actually does like actually both your product and also his product are relatively niche products and no interest still works, right? Because Facebook these days, like, it's probably the best way to use your algorithm and kind of get your ad spend all consolidated as well. Right.
Yeah, it works really well. I mean, I'm always testing with it, but I'm surprised that now it's working better than it ever has before. So we just let
Yeah.
Facebook work.
Yep. All right. So Anatoly, do you have a question about when you did transition from Ali to custom brand, did you only change packaging and put your brand name on the product? Was there any alterations on the actual product design too? All right. So this, as opposed to just answering that question, let's go into the next step of what we actually did, because that's going to naturally answer that question. So
Cool.
you started working with us. we had this brand, and then that's when we started talking about, hey, let's start branding things, let's change the logo, and let's think about some improvements as well. So maybe you can talk first about how you thought about that first, and I'll kind of give my thoughts from the supply chain perspective too.
Yeah, well, originally I didn't realize some of the actual problems that our product had. I thought that because I had ordered it before we scaled and I tested it out and I was like, oh, this thing is great. But of course, when you get it in the hands of a couple thousand people, they're going to nitpick and figure out different things that need to be improved. So initially, only thing I wanted to do with Dayu was get our logo on the product, get some type of better packaging, and get faster shipping. But then what I found is that there are different things that we need to change about the product. So we went down that process probably like a month after we started testing initially with you. And then ever since we started that process, we haven't stopped. I mean, we're always making the product better. So if you want to figure out a way to improve your product, just listen to your customers. And if they're not saying anything, just call them or reach out to them. And like, if they answer, be really nice and talk to them and say, hey, like, what did you like about my product, or what didn't you like? And they're going to tell you exactly, because we added a customer support phone number to our site, which I think is super good for a lot of you guys to do. And before I had my assistant doing it, I was taking like 80% of the calls because I wanted to like see what's going on. So I would hear firsthand certain things about the product, sizing, the different fabrics, whatever, and got an understanding of what we needed to improve from there. So
yeah. So I'll add a little bit on the backend side. So first of all, it was awesome that Jordan like cared about the customers, cared about the feedback, because it's not just about like being a good person and caring about your customers. It's good business as well, right? Listening to your customers, especially for a product that you might know is not going to be perfect from the start, right? Listening to your customers allows you to have more targeted improvement on the supply chain side, right? So now, I'll talk about kind of the factory and supply chain side on that, because I think the wrong way to do it actually, or maybe the inefficient way to do it, is to say, okay, I just want to improve this product. I just want to make it better, just make everything better, right? V2, generation 2, upgrade everything, right? It's possible, right? But obviously every single thing is going to be more expensive. Every single thing is going to be slower in terms of like the lead times, right? Now what Jordan did that was great was that he actually listened to his customers. I mean, there's certain parts about the product that was totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it, right? If there's nothing wrong with it, why would you need to improve? But there were some very specific areas, a handful of areas that the customers were either complaining about or they weren't super happy about, right? Which means that you're not fixing 10 things all at once, right? You're fixing or improving, 2 or 3 things at once, and it makes it a lot more efficient. And it kind of had to do, so, part of the branding we did, I remember one of the conversations we had was about like packaging as well, right? Packaging, similar to product improvements, is something that you want to do efficiently, cost efficiently. We're talking maybe about like a nice box, for example, which may be theoretically the best possible unboxing experience, right? But then we were kind of considering, hey, it's going to be much more expensive. This product doesn't even need a box, right? Let's just do like a really nice bag and just brand it, right? So that saved a lot of money, saved some time as well. And honestly, I think that
people like it.
Good. Yeah, it's a nice experience. Obviously, if your product needs a box, like, okay, like you got to do a box, right? But the whole point is that as you're thinking about branding, customization, improvements, you want to be really efficient and focused, right?
Definitely.
And then the other thing is that, I remember we actually did it in steps, right? Like it was kind of like, first there were like literal issues, right? Like people were actually complaining. And then we started actually kind of doing some improvements where like it was a little bit more nice to have, but it was kind of known that they could actually be big improvements as well, right?
Yeah, definitely, which is a good way to handle it, I think maybe I'm wrong on this, but I don't know if there's any like exact step-by-step formula to go out with something like this. You sort of like figure out the biggest problems that you're facing in your business and knock them down one by one. That's what I did, at least.
Yeah. And the other thing is, one thing that I want everyone to know is that honestly, anything is possible in China in terms of like what factories can do. Like quite literally, actually. There's legal restrictions, but literally everything is possible. Now, not everything is going to be cheap, right? There's something to be more expensive, right? But the thing is, when you want to really up your game, and like you should not assume that, look, my quality of the product is okay, but that's just how it is, and I got to deal with it, and all I can do is just slap a logo on it, right? If your supplier is telling you that this is just how the factory makes it, right? Like that's BS. I mean, it's like they should at least be having that conversation, and you should not be assuming that it just can't be improved. A lot of folks out there are just a little bit lazy. They don't want to deal with it because it is a lot of work dealing with these factories, right? Now, it is very possible that the improvement is going to be, hey, look, this is going to double your COGS. Like, do you really want to do it, right? And maybe you decide that, okay, it's not worth it after all. But at the very least, you should not give up on the fact that you could actually improve this product, fix quality issues, and actually make it better in the future. So just keep that in mind, because I really think that key is one of the main things that kind of holds like a 6-figure, product from scaling into like a real 7+ 8-figure kind of brand, and have that longevity as well.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So thank you for the kind words, Nicholas. All right. So Jordan, great info. Appreciate it. What are your average shipping times to the top countries? Well, actually, I know, Jordan, but what do you think are the average shipping times that you have to the top countries?
Seems to be around like 6 to 10 days, sometimes a little longer, sometimes faster. I'm gonna be transparent with you guys and saying I don't check every single order, right? Like, but we don't hear too many complaints from people saying it took too long to ship. I'll tell you that much. I would probably stop hearing that a while ago, unless something happened where like it got returned to sender, or it didn't make it through customs or something like that, which it doesn't happen. So yeah, you guys got the shipping time figured out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So like, look, everyone's worried about like slow shipping from China. 6 to 10 days. Like it's, I mean, honestly, like even if you fulfill from the US, like if you're using USPS first class, especially if you're using kind of a large fulfillment center like ShipBob, they have processing times. You're using their standard service. Like you're looking at like about that time. It might be a little bit faster, but like ShipBob can be like 3 to 7 days. They say business days actually. So roughly it's around that time. Although one thing is Jordan's product is very light, so he can actually use the express line. So that does make a difference. So another reminder that like the lighter the product you have, the more efficient it's going to be able to ship as well. And
people don't really care to wait either. Like they don't mind as long as you're like super transparent about it and like they know what they're expecting. I think where people mess up is like they have an expectation in the mind of the customer, like, oh, express shipping worldwide, like 3-day shipping, 4-day shipping, and then the customer is now expecting it to show up in 3 days and it doesn't, and now they're upset. But if you tell them right off the bat that it might take 8 to 12 days, and you have a good email follow up, and it's easy for them to get in touch with you. And also one other tip I'll give with you guys, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but Tractor is like the best tracking app ever. Like I set them up on my store, and honestly our like customer service inquiries about tracking and product like status have gone down probably like 50%. Because it's just very clear on exactly where their product is at. And also Tractor can hide the origin country. So if you don't want people to know that your products are coming from China, which is some gray hat stuff, but you could use Tractor and it works really good for that. So
yeah, no, that's a good point. I think, well, I definitely suggest, I mean, there are a bunch of different tracking apps out there, but yeah, I think that there are a couple of good ones out there. Tractor I heard about. I also heard about Rush. It's pretty good. I obviously don't use any of them because I don't run any stores. But the idea of just giving more updates, better updates to customers. I mean, well, first of all, don't lie to your customers. Like Jordan said, don't say it's 3-day shipping. It's not 3-day shipping. Yeah. Like people just get mad, right? And honestly, customers they get they get angry at people or at stores, not because like it takes longer. They get angry at stores because they think you're lying to them. They think that like you're scamming them or something, right?
Yeah.
I'll give an example. So probably thankfully, we didn't work together during the peak of COVID last year, but during the peak of COVID, like US Express, sometimes we're taking up to like 30 days. And this was like 5 to 8 days before, right? And obviously there were a lot of client orders that were going out that were getting these delays, but the customers bought it assuming it's 5 to 8 days or 5 to 10 days, whatever, right? What we told our clients to do is email everyone, explain the situation. I mean, I guess at that time there was kind of an excuse because it's COVID, right? Explain the situation. At that time, even Amazon was getting delayed, and keep them updated. And honestly, like normally in that situation, you might expect like massive chargeback rates, but there were still some chargebacks, there's still some refunds, but from our clients, it was maybe like more like 5% as opposed to like 30%, right? So obviously it's still a hit. But the thing is, like, sometimes stuff happens in the logistic chain. Sometimes things get delayed with your factory or whatever, right? If that happens, like, just communicate with your customers. And honestly, like, it won't be 100% fine, but it'll be way better if you don't communicate and they start just disputing the orders and charging back. All right. All right. So another question is, Jordan, any affordable way of getting video creatives, like an easy way of getting UGC 9x16 video creatives? All right, let's answer that one first.
Just do it yourself or have your friends do it. I mean, it can't get more affordable than that, right? It's super easy to make this type of content. You don't need to be the Harmon Bros or Steven Spielberg. Like, you literally just need to grab your phone, okay, and then you just figure out the script of what you want to do. If it's like an ad or if it's a UGC video and you want to keep it as legit as possible, give the product to your friend for like a day or an hour or 10 minutes, whatever, and just have them figure out what they like about the product, and then have them record the video at like a selfie and just talk about what they like about the product. Some people are really nervous on camera and they might have to take a couple of tries to get the video, but that's what you're there for. You sort of guide them in the right direction. They get it done. I would do that before I pay anybody. I would try to exhaust my whole friend and family resource before I pay somebody, because why? Like, it's just free and I can get exactly what I want and I could do it faster. In the time that I could pay a service and then wait a week to get a video from them, I could literally have 7 friends do videos every day of the week. And then now I have 7 times the content for free. So I believe in making your own content. Now, when you're getting to the point where you scaled your content so high and it started to tap out, you can make another series of your own content, or then now that you have capital, you can invest and keep stacking up videos from these other services. But at the start, just do it yourself. And it's such a good skill to have. Like, I feel like being able to create good creatives and really understand that process will set you apart from 99% of dropshippers, because they just don't get it. They just go to bands off ads or viral ecom ads and just buy it and test, and they don't actually learn. But if you can understand that process, you are in the money for sure.
Yeah, and by the way, this store is cash flowing well, so I know Jordan has a budget, but I think that it sounds like it's not a budget thing as much. It's just like it just works.
It's not. I want to become a really great producer and content creator when it comes to making video ads, because like I said, that skill is so powerful. Like, even when I was actually broke, just to take it back, being able to make video ads allowed me to charge people $20 to make a video, which allowed me to have a budget to invest in my first store. You get what I'm saying? So that skill is super valuable in a variety of ways. It's so powerful. You got to learn it.
Yeah, and I just like to comment on that actually, because look, I think that if you don't necessarily have that experience shooting videos, obviously it might seem a little bit daunting to you. But the thing is, like, especially if you're a newer dropshipper, like, you're an entrepreneur, like you're starting out this business, right? And you really got to like learn as many aspects of the business as you possibly can that are actually critical to the business. And obviously, like supply chain fulfillment, like you can't really do that unless you actually are in China. But everything else, front end side, marketing, like copy, like these videos, the best, most successful clients that we work with just started just themselves and just, doing stuff themselves and shooting these videos themselves. And, one other thing about like hiring a service to shoot these videos, and we've had a lot of clients actually had bad experiences doing that, even like more expensive services, is that like, the thing is like, it's hard to get your vision a lot of times, right? And you can kind of end up with something like after a week that's just really not perfect. And, it's really your vision that drives this brand, right? And obviously it's a very important skill set as well. All right.
Definitely.
So what kind of budget should we allocate towards creatives when starting out?
So like I just said, I didn't
Oh,
pay
related.
anything.
Yeah, related. Yeah, related to that actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't pay anything, right? I mean, I don't think I'm just speaking from the perspective of somebody that's going to go out and create their own video, right? Like you don't need a budget. You need to pay for the product, and maybe you need to. My friends never asked me for money, right? Like I would offer them, but they didn't want it. We just were hanging out, and I was like, "Yo, can you film this little video?" Now if you're gonna like, if you don't have friends that you could do or like family that you could do, you're gonna have to pay like a model or somebody, which I can't speak too much on that because thankfully I've been blessed with a good circle of friends and they've really helped me out with the creative. Like if anybody knows my friends, then you would know my brand because you'll see my friends and all that. So yeah.
All right, guys. Key
Yeah.
tip, make more friends. Make more friends, guys.
That's what it is. Dayu is going to be in the next ad, actually. So stay tuned for that.
Well, no, but then it's going to review your brand, so you don't want to do
just
that. All right. So 2 questions that are kind of related, actually. So like, do you concentrate on Facebook and Instagram, or do you also buy media on like Snap, TikTok, YouTube? And kind of related questions like, what ads work better on YouTube or Facebook?
Yeah, so my bread and butter is definitely Facebook, right? I think I've spent the most amount of time there, the most amount of money there. But in the last year, I've definitely branched out into YouTube ads a lot. And I think it's one of the most slept on channels. I've been able to make in sales around 400K, 450K just from YouTube ads, not Google search and shopping, just YouTube this year. And we're trying to continue growing that. I was able to scale that really high, and then my creative just like fell off a cliff. So I'm working now to make a new creative. And disregarding everything that I just said about creative, on YouTube, it is a different game. The creatives that really like, okay, my video got around 5 million views right now, and it's like dying. I can't do anything else with it. But then you look at a company like Dr. Squatch, who has a video that has 300 million views or like 100 million views, a ridiculous amount of views. And the reason why that video maintains is because it's produced like a Super Bowl commercial. It's so high quality, it's funny, it's got a good actor, it's got music. And when that pops up on YouTube, people like, they're excited to see it. It's a cool ad, it's a cool piece of content. So I think that with YouTube, you really need to make high quality stuff. The first video I made though on YouTube that popped off was similar to a Facebook style dropshipping ad. I just did a voiceover instead of captions, and that worked. So, and now we're expanding out into Google Shopping. I have an agency, we're running that. They've been doing it for the last 2 months. So for me, YouTube ads, Facebook, and Google Shopping. And I'm trying to learn TikTok as well, but that's what my video is about this week as well. Is trying to learn TikTok ads. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, I've heard some folks are crushing with TikTok. Like I think it's definitely it's
a good opportunity.
Yeah, some of our clients are just spiking huge orders TikTok. So definitely check it out. I mean, TikTok is like what people are hoping Snap to be. I mean, I feel like Snap never just really kind of got super effective. I don't know why, but TikTok, like, definitely big right now, though, I got to figure out, I mean, it's a very different kind of format, right? Like,
yeah,
dancing works better there, so it probably depends on the product as well.
I feel like you got to really watch a lot of TikToks and like understand like what type of content is popping off. Cause like Even though that store that I just, or that product that I just showed you guys way earlier in this live stream, like I'm trying to build a store with that and launch it on TikTok ads for this week's video challenge. And like my first test is going terrible. Like I'm not getting sales, like, and that's just what it is when you start on a new platform. You got to learn the game. But yeah, there's definitely some sauce to it, and I will figure it out eventually.
All right. And next question is, how are you dealing with iOS 14.5 or like post iOS 14.5 reporting issues? You using any softwares like Hyros or Wicked Reports or anything like that?
No, I'm not using those. Even though I have tried Hyros in the past, I think it is a great tool. It's just so expensive. I am using this app called Be Profit. It's like a profit calculator on your store, and they actually have a UTM tracking, and you can connect Be Profit to your Facebook ads account. And then they have this dashboard inside of Be Profit. It's called the marketing dashboard. And you can see it's not 100% accurate, but it's the best. It's the best we got right now for the price. You can see how much you spent on Google, how much you spent on Facebook, how much you spent on whatever. And then you can see your ROAS on that platform, how many sales came from that platform. It's super helpful. But truth is, I see a lot of people that are not getting sales, really tripping about this iOS 14 thing. If you're just running one platform and one mainstream of traffic, it should be pretty clear on if it's working or not. Like if you're getting sales and it's profitable, it's doing well. If it's not getting any sales at all and it's not profitable, I mean, it's something deeper than iOS 14, right? Like it's not coming down to Mark Zuckerberg. Like you probably got to really tighten up your product and your creative, right? So that's what I use right now is Be Profit, because I'm running multiple channels. If I was just running Facebook though, it would be clear to see if it was working or not. The only thing that does really suck with iOS 14 is like on an individual ad set basis, it's pretty tough. But that's why I've sort of switched up my strategy a little bit, and I'm trying to consolidate instead of, whereas before I would try to have like 10, 20 campaigns, like I'm really trying to keep it smaller and just more clean with what I'm doing. And I think it's a lot easier to manage that way, and it's a lot clearer on which is performing.
Yeah. So heard really good things about Hyros, but yeah, Hyros is what, like $3,000 for like a couple of months or something like that. And yeah, so it's quite expensive.
It's a great tool. It's the market leader for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, they I mean, they know it, I'm sure they have crazy margins on that thing. One other suggestion that I've actually heard is if anyone out there like uses Zapier or sort of, so Zapier is kind of like a service that allows you to connect different types of services together through kind of like it's kind of like an API connection. So there's actually a way where you can actually connect your Shopify data all the way to your Facebook data as an offline conversion event. So I wouldn't necessarily say that. I mean, Be Profit basically is kind of like a little bit, I mean, they're kind of solving different problems as well, right? Because Be Profit is great, actually. I've checked it out. That's kind of how you check like performance based on UTMs, whereas Zapier actually pushes the purchases back into your Facebook as offline conversions. Now, the issue with that though is that it tends to duplicate some conversions sometimes. And I'm not sure if this is true, but some say that there is a theory that pushing these events back actually helps optimization, but don't take my word for it. But I actually have, so it's not my video, but I have a short YouTube video from someone else about the Zapier integration. So anyone who wants that, just go ahead and comment Zapier.
I want to see that as well.
Or I'll send it. Yeah, I'll send it to you as well. It's just like, it's simple, it's quick, and it's, I don't think it's going to solve everything, but I think just more ways to connect to platforms is probably going to be helpful as well. All right, so Mason, how do we avoid Facebook bans? Jordan.
Anybody know? No. Nah, I mean, okay, I'll tell you that from starting this brand, I probably, and keep in mind, everything I just told you guys, right? Like we have good shipping. The product is as best as we can make it, and we're making it better. I have my own video ad, like I have customer service and a phone number. Like I'm trying to follow all their best practices. The product is not like some obscene, like risque type thing. Like it's very straight to the point. Still got banned probably like 6 times over the last year. But now I have a new business manager that I've been running, and this one has been clean and hasn't been banned for like 4 months. So we'll hopefully keep that going in Q4. But how not to get banned? I mean, like I just told you, because I could go and say, oh, get your own video, and oh, get your own shipping, and like that's going to severely decrease your chances of getting banned. But the reality of it is, Facebook still might do it to you. It's just who they are. It's just how their platform works. Because it's not, as far as I know, I don't know if this is 100% true. Maybe you could comment on it as well, Dayu. But like, it's an algorithm and it's the AI that's really like banning you. It's not like a human being at first, and that's usually why you'll get banned. And then you can go ahead and review it, and a lot of times you'll get it back. It's because it's not somebody that is like saying like ban that person. It's more so like the robot picked up something, or somebody reported it, or you know. So just do the best practices, really, and I think the better question is like what to do if you get banned, because you have to understand it's inevitable that it will happen. So you need to figure out a solution before it happens. So that way, when it does happen, you're not like crying yourself to sleep and like trying to figure out like something on the fly. You need to have some type of solution.
All right, then Jordan, what do you do if you get banned?
There it is. Well, first, just appeal, right? Because a lot of times they will give you your account back as long as you didn't do anything crazy. But I highly, highly recommend that you guys do have backups, meaning like you have another business manager and another ad account that you could use. That's really the best thing that you could set up. And just as like a preventative measure, what you could do is you could link, and this is what I did, your Instagram account to the backup business manager, because usually if the ad account and the business manager gets banned, like the Facebook page is going to be like wiped. So you're not even going to be able to use that page again. But I found that you can actually disconnect the Instagram page from the banned business manager, and then it's good to go on the new one, which will kickstart you, especially if you have, like some followers and your brand name on there. It's a good little starting point. But it's such a complicated thing that I still really haven't mastered. Like my setup to run Facebook ads today, would make some of you guys like laugh. Like I literally have to log into this tool called AnyDesk, which lets you like remote log into a computer. And I have to log into my sister's computer at her house, which is 2 hours away from me. And I run ads through her computer on her profile, because what else can you do? Some people, they would be like, oh, I can never run Facebook ads again, I'm banned, whatever. But me, I'm like, I got to figure this out. So the remote desktop strategy works really well. If you're completely banned on your profile and you need a fresh start, do the remote desktop. Get a friend or a family, get access from them to use their profile to run ads, get a new credit card. If you're using an American Express, you can just get an employee card and run it up that way. It's so tricky though, man. Like even one misstep in that process and you can flag Facebook and get shut down again. Like, so I don't have a step-by-step guide to it yet.
Yeah. I mean, like Jordan said, we were doing everything legit as well. It was a little bit random. I mean, to be fair, I think it was probably because we were scaling up during the last Q4, where it was just like so much random restrictions, like where Facebook's algorithms has been going into overdrive. It seems like recently it's been a little bit better, although the problem is kind of different and also bad, where Facebook just restricts your scaling a lot if you have a new account. So obviously that's going to be a problem. So by the way, if you plan to scale up through this Q4, see if you can don't obviously scale up unprofitably, but like the more you can scale it, the more you can push Facebook's budget, the more you can kind of naturally get that increase, the better you're going to be for Q4 as well. I have also heard about agency accounts. So you know what, our client Nicholas George, he did comment in this thread that he has an option. So Nicholas, please reach out to me. I want to talk to you first. I want to make sure the solution is vetted out. And if it is, I can actually just, we'll share with folks in this conversation as well. So give me some time, but if you guys are interested in me vetting out this process and just send you guys information, if it's legit, then just comment agency account or something, agency account. And I'll remember to follow up you guys if it's legit. All right. And then the other thing about Facebook bans, by the way, is obviously like there is some randomness or maybe a lot of randomness to it. However, there are going to be a lot of situations where you do get restrictions because of your feedback score, right? And this is where we want to be careful. So like, just because you're shipping from China, if you're scaling up a product, doesn't mean like, I mean, a lot of folks, like most of our clients, I'd say they average, 4+ feedback or up, right? Some like, 4.5, some 5. So just like fulfilling from China is not the issue. However, one thing that sometimes happens is that if you're testing products as well, and you are just using the same storefront, and you have a whole bunch of random orders, you're using AliExpress, using CJ, using Rio, that can actually risk bringing down your feedback score, even if your main product is just killing you, right?
Yeah.
So there's obviously different ways to do that. Like I personally think, and this is what a lot of our clients do, is that if you're testing stuff, just use a different store. Like just have like a general or like broad niche store, test stuff, make it like a completely different account, make it completely separate. And then like that has lower risk and it's probably going to scale up not as much anyway. So it doesn't get flagged by Facebook as much. And then when something is actually winning, really transfer that to something else. Try not to mix your testing and your scaling, because that's, that is just going to increase the risk, because you're going to get your feedback score dragged down by the testing products as well, right? Our next question is, what kind of apps so what kind of apps do you think are over or underrated for a Shopify store? So good apps, bad apps, overrated and underrated apps.
All right, we could do 2 of each, I think. Good apps. Well, I already mentioned Tractor, right? Let me actually just go to my app store so I'm not freestyling this, and let me see which ones I consider. Oh, okay. I'll do 3 good ones. So you need to have a really good profit calculator on your store. There's no getting around that. Otherwise, you're just like shooting blind. And I like BProfit. I used to use Profit Calc before. I think they're both good. Use whatever one you want to use. That way you can check in every day. Nobody cares about revenue. You can check in on your actual store growth. Next up, you need in my opinion, OCU. I think it's I wouldn't call it underrated. I'm just saying this is an incredible app. You need this one or something else. Out of all of them I've tested, OCU is the best for me. And then I would say third place, I'm going to combine 2 of them into one because they're kind of the same thing. Like you need to SMS and email. So I use Attentive and I use Klaviyo. You don't have to use Attentive. It's a little overpriced in my opinion, but they do a good job. So yeah, you need to have a profit calculator, a good upsell, and some email and SMS marketing. Now, apps that I think are overrated, anything that's like a countdown timer or like a flashy, like buy this now, or you're like your firstborn child will be sacrificed, or like some crazy, like, like anything that's flashy, get rid of it. Like keep your store clean and simple. Second thing that would be overrated, I don't know. I don't really, there's a lot of overrated stuff on the App Store. You don't need most of it. You really don't. You really don't. Yeah. I'll leave it at that.
All right. When you launch a brand new store, what is your strategy for building trust or reviews?
Well, I feel like it's 2 different things. Trust, I feel like, is at first coming down from a design standpoint. I could be wrong about this, but I believe this to be true. People are going to trust a website that is really nicely designed and has a good logo and has good quality images and doesn't have typos, and people will trust that more. Now, when it comes to actually getting reviews, once again, good old friends can also help out with kickstarting it with a couple reviews. You could always take reviews from AliExpress as well, and even sometimes take them from Amazon, which is somewhere in the middle, because Google hates it when you do that, by the way. Like if they notice that you're pulling Amazon reviews, like they're not going to approve your Merchant Center account. I don't know how they figure out, but they figure it out. But there's easy ways to get reviews. Like you could just have it in your post-purchase flow, maybe like a month after, just ask them for a review in exchange for something like a discount code, or like you could do whatever. Yeah, we put inside of our packaging too, which actually gave us a lot more reviews, on our thank you card. We put like leave us some feedback. and then we put the actual link. So that helps a lot. So yeah, I definitely would recommend doing that as well.
All right, great. Yeah, that thank you card. Yeah, it's something that honestly, like, it should be the first step for everyone.
Yeah.
In terms of just very easy value add, a nicely designed thank you card. People feel good about it. It's easy branding. You can put a discount code on it, right? Leave your feedback, follow you. And most of your suppliers are going to be able to do it for, but they should be able to do it for very cheap. Sometimes
Yeah.
free as well. So it's kind of no brainer to start on that, to be honest. So obviously as you start scaling up, just start with that first. All right, so we're probably gonna go for another 5-10 minutes or so. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about how this brand is going strong. I mean, it's done 7 figures already. Hopefully it's going to do multiple 7 figures, maybe 8 figures. Now, a lot of folks tend to have more difficulty, like kind of breaking into the 7-figure barrier. Like they do like low, mid 6 figures, and it's hard for them to scale up. So do you have any tips for folks on the marketing side, the branding side, in terms of like, okay, like how do you really kind of cross that barrier and get to that next level and build like a 7-figure sustainable brand?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it comes down to really having the best product in the marketplace, because I feel like that's going to float you up to the top. Because what I've learned is that if you're just focusing on this front end transaction of one sale at a time and only one and done with each customer, it's really difficult to scale to that, multi-million dollar level, because you're having to chase 200,000 customers or 100,000 customers. And that's a lot of people. But what if you could get 20,000 customers that love your product, that tell their friends about it, that come back to shop with you again? Well, now that 20,000 has multiplied to 30, 40, 50,000 without you spending a lot of money extra in advertising. So I think that's really the first step, is having a great product and great customer experience. I feel like from there, scaling actually gets a lot easier. Now, of course, there is the talk of scaling on the actual ad platform and those type of things. But from my experience, if everything is done in your best effort, you made your best creative, you have the highest quality product that you can do, scaling it up on the ads is not actually that difficult. It's really just a matter of increasing budget, launching more creatives, just optimizing everything. I think the biggest thing when it comes to scaling is really having the best product. And now we're seeing a bottleneck with this brand. We're at around like 1.5 million in sales, maybe a little less than that. And I am struggling to really figure out how to get it to that $5-10 million mark. But me and Dayu have talked a lot, and I've consulted with a few of my other mentors as well. And the solution is really just rolling out more products, because now we officially yesterday hit 30,000 customers. So we have literally 30,000 people that buy our product, and maybe they don't all like it, but let's say 90% of them like it, or 85% of them like it. So we got 26,000 people that we can sell more of our own products to, that they will come back and buy again. That's how you really expand the business. You keep funneling in new customers, but you also have a whole library of products, whether they're physical or digital products. Don't sleep on digital products. That's what we're focusing on. And you just keep pushing it that way. You got to take care of your customer base, instead of trying to chase a new one.
Yeah, I know. It's working on that. Obviously want to just scale this up higher. And I think, this, we talked about, like, I mean, the what happens after the first purchase. I mean, that's so important. I think that especially when you first start out in dropshipping, I think there is a little bit too much focus on like just pure ROAS, which is obviously important, right? But you don't want to be optimizing just for like your first purchase ROAS. I mean, how do big brands make tons of money? Like, I'm talking about 100 million brands. I'm talking like billion-dollar brands, right? They make money not because they look at ROAS, by the way. Like, a lot of these brands, they lose money on acquiring a customer on the first purchase, right? But they know that the lifetime value, the LTV of each customer is X amount. And it's way more than the first purchase, that's for sure, right? You think about any kind of department store you go to, right? You probably go, to the same department store like hundreds of times through your lifetime. You keep spending, keep
Mhm.
spending, keep spending, right? So it's not about the first purchase. Obviously, that's a more extreme example. But if you can get that, if you can extend your LTV way longer than just the first purchase ROAS, then that means that you can outspend your competitors who can't spend more than their break-even ROAS, right? We have quite a few clients before, they do these crazy funnels, like using ClickFunnels, like upsells, downsells, cross sells. I didn't even know what they were called, before they started working on them. Like he scaled to 7 figures in a couple of weeks, and he literally lost money on 1 unit sales. Like he knew it,
Mhm.
but he makes money on the back end. So guys, like if you really want to scale up, like think about your LTV. It's not just AOV, by the way. It's not just the average order value. It's LTV. Like how do you get your customers to purchase, whether it's like right afterwards or like 3 months down the line. I do
Yeah.
actually have a video about this. Comment LTV if you want us to send us the if you want us to send you the video I made about this. How do you think about LTV and like just longer term profitability?
Yeah. Last point on that as well is like in hindsight, I wish I had started that process earlier, because I feel like, now a year later, we would have already had a library of products and we would have a higher LTV and a higher AOV. But I've sort of waited now until it's become like, okay, we have to do this. So I recommend that you guys do it before you have to do it. Yeah.
All right. Uh, so actually, just last question, and I'll let you
Yep.
go, Jordan. So where are you taking this? Like, where you what's your goal with this brand next? 5 years,
For
year, 5
sure.
years.
Well, I initially started this out with the goal of trying to show the entire journey from starting a store with drop shipping, and I'm talking about on YouTube, starting a store with drop shipping, building a brand out of it, really scaling that brand and trying to become the top one or top three in that industry. And then ideally, I would like to sell this brand. As much as I have had fun building this product and still do every single day, I think for me, for the next 5 to 10 years, it's not the business that I want to work on. And that's okay. I think that the journey of documenting from starting with dropshipping, building a brand, and selling the company on YouTube is like a really fun story to follow. And I think that's why my channel has grown in this last year. So the goal for me right now is to keep optimizing and keep building this. We're launching new products. Like I just told you, literally this week, we're launching a new product. And I'm trying to get this primed and ready to scale and break our last records from last Q4. So that way, going into next year, I could really sit down with investors and people that could be interested in buying this and show them, look, here's our year over year growth. It's been crazy. This is the last 4 months. This is the last Q4 we just had. You see this, right? Like the growth potential is going to be crazy for this business if you were to, get involved in this. And thankfully, Dayu has actually really been helpful in that process as well, giving me a different perspective. So that's the play for this business. It's going to happen, and you guys are going to see what happens. I don't think I'll ever be able to reveal like the money amount that I sell the business for. Maybe after I sell it, I might not even be able to reveal the product. I don't even know how that's going to work, but I would love to really show, like, I would love to show everything. A lot of times I wish I could. You just know how it goes. Like people copycat everything that you do, and they're going to start cloning it all. So, but one day I will reveal the whole thing, and you guys will see it. But the last thing I'll say, because you brought up like 5 year plan, right? The real long-term vision for me is like, I love making videos and I like being on YouTube and I like creating content, but I also love being a business owner and running an e-commerce brand. So the question I ask myself all the time is, how can I combine those two things, right? Why does e-commerce in my life have to be this thing that, oh, I can't show the product, I can't show what I'm working, I can show the profit and I can show the sales, but I can't show the actual thing. Why does it have to be like that? What if I could show them the actual transparent whole process of me building something? Look, here's the product, here's the website name, and here's the sales, and you guys could actually go buy one too. And I'm making videos on the same side. So the goal for me after I sell this business is to build something where they can all be intertwined. It doesn't have to be a separate thing. And I think that will be sort of innovative in the space because nobody's really done that. And we'll see where that takes me.
That's awesome. Hey, that's a cool goal, man. I mean, no one has done it before, but I feel it's possible. Like, obviously like people are afraid that someone's gonna copy their store, steal their product, right? But I also kind of believe that if you can be if you just do it right, if you do it better than everyone else, like if you it's look, I think people are too worried about like what other people's strategies might be. It's all about execution, man. Like it's all about execution, and you can have all the knowledge, but if you don't execute correctly, then it really doesn't matter as well. So that's awesome. I mean, it's kind of how I think about this fulfillment thing, right? And I'm happy to tell you guys everything about how fulfillment works, right? But it's execution that really matters anyways, right? So really love that, really love that. All right, well, thank you so much, Jordan. Really appreciate it. Maybe we'll do this in the future once you sell your store, some big news. It was fun.
Yes,
Uh,
that would be
and
great.
uh, and yeah, definitely everyone, like if you haven't already, like check out Jordan Welch on YouTube. Like he's, definitely, I honestly think the best active YouTuber right now in terms of drop
Thank you,
shipping.
bro. Thank you.
Check him out. Like he always puts out great content. And thank you so much, Jordan.
Definitely. Yeah, and a major shout out to you, bro, for what you're doing. You got this community, it's thriving. Everybody in the group, thank you guys for popping out to the live stream. If you're watching the replay, shout out to you for watching this all the way to the end. And yeah, guys, check out the channel. Just my name, Jordan Welch, it'll pop right up. I post new videos every single Friday. I got a good one coming this week. So I'll see you guys on the channel. Hopefully, I'm also active in this group. I don't answer a bunch of questions, but I out of all the groups I frequent, I go to this group often because Dayu is always dropping some games. So I'm in here. So
all right. Appreciate it, my man. And we'll chat soon.
all right, see you guys.
Bye, everyone.